Okay. And the next stage is I've got my colleague Sachin. Sachin, if I can probably spotlight you there for a second. There's Sachin there. So Sachin is one of the club leaders within Manchester Southern Asia Church. You know, he'll be assisting me today, and we'll go through. Hopefully we can answer all questions that you might have today with regards to Google Classroom, and he'll be able to share with you how he's used Google Classroom within his club as well. Okay, so welcome, Sachin.
Thank you, everyone.
All righty, and then there's myself. So Mgcini, I'm one of the ACs within Area 2. And again, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask. So going straight on to Google Classroom. So you can see my screen, right, Sachin?
Yes, we can.
Yes. So the first thing you need to do with Google Classroom is to get a Google account. And the Google account doesn't necessarily need to be a just needs to be an account that's associated with
Brother Mgcini, your voice is breaking.
Is it breaking, brother?
No, it's fine.
Okay. All right. I might need to swap my internet on there, brother. So okay, whilst I'm getting my internet sorted there, Sachin, do you want to just take this first bit there on the Google Classrooms there, bro? Just take the first couple of slides for me.
Sure. So as Brother Mgcini was saying, that the first thing that we want to do is that as the director, you want to open a Google account, make an account probably most likely to what you would use as a club. Or the name of your club. You want to have an account based with that one, because that will become your primary or your main area from where you're going to be working and adding teachers and adding students and everything. So rather than just having your individual name, you want your account to be liaised with your club name. Are you getting onto that one now, Mgcini?
Yes, so hopefully I should be better now. I'm hoping so. Excellent. Yeah. So the first thing, like I said, I've used my own email. So there's a test email which I've used here, which I've just called testdirector@area2.club, but you can create a Gmail if you want. Now, there is an element of validation that you need to do, verification. So you'll just need to go through all of that. Once you've got your Gmail linked account or Google linked account, the next thing you then do is then you need to create your first class, okay? And I think it'll be good to probably walk you through this while it's also sharing this with you, okay? So if I share my other screen, then you can see what I mean there, okay? So you should see in here, once you logged into Google Classroom, you'll be presented, your first screen will be blank. It won't have these two things that you see on the left here. You'll be totally blank. The first thing you need to do is to create a class. And to create a class, you click on this plus button on the top right, and you get two options, either to join or create a class. You don't want to join, because to join, it means you're joining as a student to an existing class. If you want to create your own class, then you select create class, okay? Select create class. You get this prompt about G Suite for Education. We were not gonna go through that. So you just tick this box, I've read it, and you continue on there. It will give you a list. What do you wanna make it for? So, you know, let's call it Companion Class 2021 section, we can call it whatever you want to call it. Okay. On there and create. Okay. It will take time to create your class for you. And then once it's created your class, you'll be presented with 4 sections. Okay. On the 4 sections, you'll see them at the top here. One says stream, one says classwork, the other one says people, the other one says grades. On the stream one, it's almost like your timeline in effect. You know, you used your Facebook timeline, your Instagram timeline. It just tells you what's been happening within that class. So when a piece of work or an assignment is issued, it will show on the stream side of things here. As you can see, because it's a fresh class, there's not much on the stream side of things. The next thing you need to focus on is your classwork on here. And this is where you can create your first assignment, okay? But before you create your first assignment, what I would probably encourage you to do is to create your sections. As you know, our curriculum is divided into sections, which starts with your general, okay? And then you want to make those sections that you would normally see within a typical Pathfinder and even adventure curriculum. So it's up to you as to who you make this available to. But let's take, for instance, we say that we're going to do this for the companion class. And as you know, the companion has got certain sections in there. So first we'll start with the general, and then to create that section, you click on create here. A little menu comes up and you can select topic, okay? Now I can write in there and put it general, okay? But one thing which I've found that does help is to put a number next to it, okay? The reason I put a number is because you can then put them in the right order that you want them to be. Okay, so if I say general is your first one, that creates my first title. I can create the second topic on there, which will be, what's the second one in the curriculum?
Spiritual discovery.
Spiritual discovery, yes. Okay, I put it as number 2. And then I can go on and create my third one. You know, you're on a roll here. What's the third one?
Friendship development.
Friendship development. Okay. And now carry on. Now, as you can see, it's put them in the other way, the other order that I want them to be, which is why I numbered them so that I can then reshuffle them as I want to. So I've got the general at the bottom. I want to move it to the top, literally just drag and drop. Spiritual discovery, I should be able to just drag and drop. Then I have them in order there. Now I want my requirements within those sections, okay? So I've got my my general requirement, and on the general requirement, it's got a few items on there, correct? So if I start with the first one, say, okay, I'm gonna create it as an assignment that's gonna go into my general topic here. Create an assignment. And then what's the first general requirement for the companion class?
To be,
give me
the age, is it 10?
Of
9, whatever the age is. To be
11.
To be age 11.
Mm-hmm.
Or the equivalent in school.
Yes. Okay. So let's look at that. So I know that this is from my section 1 and it's my first requirement. And I'm going to say be aged 11 years or year 7, I can't remember, or equivalent.
Year 6. Yeah.
It's year 6. Okay. Now, if I want, I can put some further instructions on there as to what I want the Pathfinder or the adventurer to complete as part of that requirement. I might also want to attach something within that particular assignment. And in here, you can add a Google document, a Google slide, a Google sheet, drawing or form, or I can choose to add something that I've got stored on my Google Drive, or a link, or upload something from my own personal drive, or attach a YouTube link, okay? And this will come as part of this assignment. And then I say, who do I want to assign this for? By default, it chooses the class that I'm in. Then if I've got any students, they will be listed on here, or I can select all students. If within that assignment, you also want to give specific points on there, you can give a certain number of points, or you can just call it ungraded, whichever you choose. And then when is that assignment due? So you will have your year planner, hopefully, ideally, where you would know when you'll be delivering your lessons or your classes. Then you might decide, you know what, I want this one to be the very first thing when I do my first day of my classes. So I'm going to put it as being due today. And you can put the time as well if you want, okay? And I can select which topic I want that to be in. So if I find myself that I've clicked assignment and, you know, I want to be in a specific topic, which I do, I can select that general topic on there. Now, on the top right here, you've got options, okay? One of the things you'll be tempted to do is to click assign straight away. Now, you do not want to assign your assignments straight away. You want to create them first, okay? So you're going to save them as drafts. So save them as drafts, or if you actually do know when you want to assign this, you can schedule it or assign it straight away. I save them as draft, so you can either select save as draft, and it will save it, and it will come back to the main window, and you'll see that it's added it onto that section that I want it to be in, okay? And then I can go and say, create my second one, okay? Which will be my 1.2, and, you know,
be a Pathfinder.
Active member of the club, okay? And you might put a requirement as to what that active member entails. You know, you might put, you know, ensure, attend, you know, I don't know, 80% or 90% of classes, etc., 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 etc. Same thing, you can attach something to go with it and yada, yada, put any grading that you want to go with it, when you want it to be due, so you can make it due towards the end of the year, okay? Because this, I'm going to assess it towards the end of the year and put what topic it needs to be in. And then I'm going to save it as my draft. Then you'll see that they're grayed out while it's their drafts in there, because they're just waiting for you to then assign to your students accordingly. And you'll go ahead and fill in all the rest of your assignments that you need to be all the way through till the end. And like I said, you can attach all these different files with it. So you might want to take a picture of maybe of the curriculum itself and attach it to the assignment itself, and so forth and so forth. Okay. And you can always go back to it at any time and edit the assignment, you know, in case you've forgotten something or you want to tweak something. And then when you're ready, you then assign it, okay? You click this assign button here, and it will ask you, you know, students, they will see this assignment straight away. Is this what you want to do? Yes, I want to assign it straight away. And any of the students that are signed up to your class will then have visibility on this particular assignment. Now, if you look on here, you'll see that there's a difference. When it's under draft, it's not showing you any information as to who's handed in what and whatnot. But once it's assigned, it will show you here as to how many of your students have actually been assigned and how many have actually handed it back in. And then you can keep a high level view as to how people are doing with regards to their requirements for each of the different assignments that you have. Okay. And another good thing is as well is, you know, Sachin was saying that they created a kind of like an online register. So, you know, he wants to keep track as to, you know, when the Pathfinders come for class, he wants to know who's attended or who can attend, who's going to attend. So Sachin, don't know if you want to just expand on that.
Yeah, sure. Can I just share my screen then?
You can indeed.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
So I'm just going to show you the classroom that we have created. So for example, we have the Voyager 2021 coming in. We have the classwork, which has already been assigned for. We have something called the attendance form here. This one is scheduled. If you can see, they're all scheduled till May. I have the entire thing scheduled. So it gets released on 1:45 and our classes start at 2 o'clock. So they have like 15 minutes. The students have 15 minutes before they can actually answer these things and say that, you know, are they going to be attending or they're not going to be attending. And pretty much they take on what they're going to be doing. So are they going to be attending it? They will ensure that their audio, video are working prior to attending the class, because we do the class teaching itself on Zoom. They agree that they will wear, you know, the Pathfinder scarf for the class, or they can say that, no, I will not be attending. Please excuse me, and I will be informing the Pathfinder director as well. In order to do that one, as Brother Mgcini said, it's straight away same thing you would do again. Go to create. You can then use one of this thing, which is called a question. And this question can not just be used for attendance. You can use this question to ask the class any question that you want to ask them as well, or the teacher wants to ask. They can use this part of it. So it'll just be a straightforward question that the students can answer. Once you click onto that one, you can say here, online registration, for example, or attendance. And then you have over here in the side where you can see short answers, or you can have multiple choice. If you want a short answer for them to answer it in that way, you can select that. If you want to go with multiple choice, which we did for our attendance, we just select onto that one. And then you have the options here where you can say, yes, I will be attending, or, you know, whichever or however you want the students to answer it. Or I won't be able to answer. Now on the side, you can see, sorry if I just move this, yeah. On the side, you can see again here, you have due date and time, as Brother Mgcini was saying. You can schedule it again here. You can say, I want it to be released June 5th, which is a Saturday. I want it to be released at 1:45, and I want it to be completed by 1400 hours, that's 2 o'clock. So put 2 o'clock there. I can again mark it, or you can unmark it. Now we found that marking it is easy. It's better because at the end, when you get the entire feedback from the students, you can then actually see how many people have got how many marks. And based on that, you can actually identify how many times they have attended or they haven't attended the class. Again, here you have the option where you can schedule it. You can say, save it as draft or anything like that. So if you click on schedule, you can go, I want this to be released. Now I have here 5th June. I have to select the same date. So 5th June, I want this to be scheduled at 1:45. And I simply click schedule. Now, if you see that comes up over here, it's not gone into my attendance form where I have created a topic for attendance. So either you can drag and drop it there, or you can just click onto the 3 dots, go into the edit section again, and you can select the topic under there and click on to attendance. So as Brother Mgcini said, either you schedule it, you save it, or you just simply click the X button over here. It will still be saved as draft. It won't be assigned. That's pretty much it with the attendance part of it.
Thank you there, Sachin. Okay. And so we'll move on to so before we move on to the other bits, so far as to what we've covered, any questions about what we've covered so far? I know probably some people have questions on there. I would say raise a virtual hand, but Paulette, go ahead, Paulette.
Can you copy between classrooms?
Yes, you can, and I'll show that later.
Even across different accounts?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions? Yes, okay.
Yes, Brother O'Keefe.
You know, like how you can create these classes separate?
Yes.
Is there a way where you could merge them underneath one? For example, if you do, for example, let's say as a director for the club, the leader for the club, you want to announce. Do you have to announce the individual, or is there a way you can filter that where the announcement goes to everybody?
Yeah, so you can only do messages to that particular class. So you can't do kind of like a mass or bulk messaging to all the classes. So you would have to go into that class and send a message for that particular class. Yes. So only per class, unfortunately, yes. Anybody else? Okay. Okay, so moving on to the next part, then if there's no further questions, is I will show you. Okay, so you have your class. So let's assume that I've now have this class that I've created. It's got all the aspects of the curriculum that I want to be there. And I want to invite people to be able to be part of this class. So I want to invite my Pathfinders. This is where you come to people. In here, there's two sections. There's a teachers section and there's a students. So any teachers, if you are not going to be the teacher for that class, you can invite them there, okay? So click on that invite teachers, type in their email address or their name if you've got them cached on the account already, and you'll be able to send the invite. Same thing with our students. If you want to get any students to come into your class, you can either type their name if you've got them cached in your address book or email, or you can even send this invite link here. Another thing that you can also use to invite them is if you go to stream, there's this thing called the class code. So you can give them that class code, okay? If they have this class code, they can go to their Google Classroom, add this class code, and they join the class. So as an example, I'll copy this, and I've signed in as a different student here, and I'm gonna come onto the plus sign, and I'm gonna join a class. And then I'm gonna put that class code on there, and then I'm gonna select join, okay? And if all goes well, I should then be able to see that particular class show up on my Google Classrooms. And there they are. And this is the view that the student will get from their perspective. Rather than having the 4 tabs, they get 3, your stream, your classwork, and the people. The one that's missing here is the grades. The grade one is what the teachers get. So you see that extra tab at the top. So as a student, I'll be able to see the work on the stream. It's shown that actually the test director has posted a new assignment, which is 1.1, whatever. And I can click and go straight to that assignment over there and, you know, be an active member of the club. So based on what the evidence that is required for it, you as a teacher, you might state that you know, be to issue them with a certificate or whatnot. They can then, you know, put this as complete, and to do so, then either they upload something onto the assignment here, and then they click it as mark as done. Says, well, you didn't attach any work. Are you sure? You know, they'll see what they see. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm going to mark it as done. And I might want to put a private comment in here to say that, you know, and this private comments, it will go to the teacher and anybody else that's also the teacher for that particular class. So if you remember on here, under the people, you've got your teachers. So anybody else that's also assigned as a teacher, well, will be able to see these private comments here that the student has left. However, if you want to send something that the rest of the class can also see with regards to this particular assignment, you can put it under here under class comments and say, you know, okay, and you can post it on there, and then other students will be able to see it, and they might respond, or a teacher might respond accordingly on there. Now you'll see in here, it's marked as I've handed it in, or I might decide, actually, no, I think I made a mistake over here. Let me just unsubmit it. The students can unsubmit that piece of work and it will come back to them. If you as a teacher, you go to your classwork, you'll see in here, it's showing me that somebody has actually submitted a piece of work regarding to that assignment. I can click to go into it and see, okay, I've actually assigned it to one person. They have handed it in, okay? And where is it on here? I think you can click. Basically, there's a way. If you click on here, if you click on this and you see what this student has submitted, and you think, no, this is not sufficient, you can add your comments on there, send that, and then you can tick that student and say, you know what, I'm going to return that piece of work back to them, and they're going to return it. And then when I come back, me as a student, and I refresh my page, I see that actually it's been returned back to me with the comments from the teacher, and I've got an option to resubmit it if I need to resubmit it. Okay. And you carry on, And then you as a teacher, like I said, there is the section that I was showing you about the grades, where you can then see all the assignments that have been selected and submitted, and you can see all the students on the left and all the piece of work that they've submitted and so forth. And you can see it at a glance, and then you know, it's something that's able for you, even as a director, to be able to see how the other classes might be doing as well. If you want to just keep an eye to see, you know, are the other classes struggling? Are they on track? And so forth and so forth. So it allows you to be able to do so at the comfort of your own home. And then once all the work is done and you're ready for your area coordinators to come and assess this, you just come to people and you just add them as a student. I mean, as a teacher, add them as a teacher, and then they'll be able to then see all the work that the that particular class is submitted, and they can assess accordingly. And there's no need for them or for you to take all these large files to your AC for them to mark. They can assess them and mark them digitally at the comfort of their own home. Okay. Any questions so far? Yes, Paulette. Just unmute yourself there, yeah.
Sorry. Just a couple of questions. Each of the children, did they set up personal email addresses?
Yes, so each child needs to have an email address, so they can use an existing email address if they have and just link it to Google, or they can go and create a new Gmail account. Okay. But it needs to be linked to your Google account.
But in Sachin's case, did the adventurers have their own email addresses? Did they use their parents' email addresses? If they use their parents' email addresses, was it one email address for two children? How did it work in practice?
So in our case, yes, some of the parents, they wanted to give their children to use their email address. So it worked in practice as long as the children are not of the same class. If they're of the same class, then it becomes something that they can't do. But if they're in different classes, they can use different same email address for different classrooms.
At the same time? At
the same time, yes.
Okay.
Because it's basically, so how Brother Mgcini is showing that if there are so many classes there, when, as a student's point of view, when you join a class, it will come the similar way. So they will see all these different classes, like they can see companion class, they can see friends class, and so forth, wherever they have the access or wherever they have the code for that. Yeah, that's the way it is. So they can then go into each class and they can fill in whichever way it is. But ideally, we would recommend them to having separate email accounts because for the ease. But if they can't, then that's absolutely fine.
So one thing, just to expand on that, one thing that you will then notice if you do use a parent's email address, when you come under students here, the parent's name will be the one that's showing, okay? Because obviously the email will be registered to a parent, but unless the parent changes that name to the child's name, it will be most likely the parent's name will show in here. But I'm sure the teacher will be able to identify that, okay, even though it's showing Sachin, I know it's his son's work that is being submitted here. Okay, we've got Kathleen Williams.
We've got Martin as well.
Hi.
Okay.
Hi, I just wanted to find out, you know, in terms of sending the link to your students, my particular class has a WhatsApp group. Can I send it on the WhatsApp group so that they can gain access?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry that I was late to this class. I didn't see the process of how they register a student. So when they do come on the page, how do we set them up as a student?
Okay. Yeah, so this is the teacher view. So as a teacher in here, you've got several ways that you can add your students. One thing is you can click on this plus button here and you can type their email and then it will send an invite to them. Or you've got this invite link, which you can copy, paste it in WhatsApp group, bosh. The other option as well is to, under companion class here, under the stream, you've got this thing called the class code. Give that to the students. When they go to their own Google Classroom, if I come onto here, they click on this plus, click on join, they can just paste that code and they will join the class.
So we would give them the link to where the companion class is, and they would have their code and they will get into their particular class.
So each class has its own code, individual code. So this code is individual to this companion class that I have created. If I want you, if I hypothetically say you were my student there, Kathleen, I would give you this code. And then you would go to your Google Classroom. So as in you just type in classroom.google.com, you click on this plus button, and then you say, I'm going to join the class. When you select join the class, it's going to ask you to paste that code, okay? You paste the code, I didn't copy there, but you paste the code there and then you click on join. And when you return back to this, you will see the class appear just like this one has appeared there.
Can I then edit the code to be something that I want for that particular class instead of having one that's generated?
No,
so
the code is auto-generated for you by Google. So you can't edit the code, I'm afraid.
Can I also add to that, Brother Mgcini? For students, yes, it's a code, but if you are the director and you want a teacher to be onto that, you want to add them through the people area.
Yes.
So you've got to use the email address for the teacher. Because if you give them the code, they would just come down as students.
As a student. That's correct. Yes. Good point there, Sachin. Yeah. Martin, did you say?
Yes, Martin and Harry.
Yeah, good evening. My question was what was asked by the previous person. And was to go on how to get the child to be as a student, how you add a student via the email. And you've explained it. And I think,
lovely.
Thanks.
Okay, we've got Harriet and then Felix, please.
Hi there. The question I've got, you did mention that if a student submits a work and it's not sufficient, you can return it back to the student to redo it.
Yes.
Is it possible to download that work? Let's say the work was done on MS Word, and then review that work and add comments on the student's work before you can resubmit it and return it to the student. Is it possible?
I don't think it's possible for you to attach something to the student's assignments. So if me as a student here, if I've gone and in here, I've then viewed the assignment and then I resubmit it, I mark it as done. Okay, so it's gone from me. I come here as a teacher and I will refresh this. I come onto my grades. I see what the student has turned in. I can't add anything on here. I can only view and mark it basically. So I can view the details of it and see what they submitted, and I can only add comments on here, but I can't specifically re-upload what they have sent to me.
Right, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So,
Felix, sorry, Sachin, did you have
No, that's fine. Yeah, I will wait for Felix.
Okay, Felix.
Okay, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Just a quick question. Like I said, my son uses this, and he's got an email, his own email, school-generated email, and as adults, we were asked one of the parents to submit an email, and I wanted to show me how would I do that so that if they assign the teacher assigns the work, and the child doesn't submit the work and is past the due date, and we normally get the reminders to say work has not been submitted, and then we'll go to him and say, how come you've not been submitted? And half the time he's done the work, it's on Google, but he hasn't pressed the button submit. So can we add that sort of a second email here as teachers so that the parents also know what is going on with their children if they wanted to know, or is it possible?
No, so this on this version of Google Classroom is not. The one that you're referring to is the G Suite for Education, which is the paid version of the Google Classroom. This version that we use, it doesn't have that functionality there, Felix.
Oh, all right, thanks.
Yeah. So if you have G Suite for Education, which, if say I was an organization, I can procure that, and then under that G Suite for Education, I assign a domain, so which would be my school domain. And then I'll issue all my kids with the relevant email addresses for my school, which allows them to be able to log in. But then it also allows the option, like you're saying, as a parent, you get to be added on there, which you get your reminders, but not on this version that we use here. Paulette.
Sorry, me again. Would it work
Yeah,
if...
you again. Just joking.
No, you're not. Would it work if, as parents, we created accounts for our children, because those accounts are ours, and we manage the children through those accounts?
Absolutely. So you can use whichever email you want, as long obviously either you or your child have access to it, because your child, hypothetically, they will need to log in to Google Classroom using that email and the credentials and do the piece of work. But because you also have access to that email, you can keep an eye on anything that's so if there's work that's assigned in here, an email is sent to the students. If there's a piece of work that's handed in by the students, an email goes out to the teachers to advise that an assignment has been submitted and so forth. So those automated emails from Google, thankfully, they're there and they do get sent. Okay, thanks for those questions. Any other questions?
Just got some chat questions, Brother Mgcini.
Yes, go ahead.
One is, how do we add the image, that we have like master guide icon or so forth, onto the classroom?
Okay. Do you want to share that?
No, go ahead, Brother Mgcini. I think that's just basically the profile, isn't it?
Yeah, I can show that. Yeah. So, I assume you're talking about having an image on the classroom.
I think that, as well as the one at the right-hand side of your screen, the one logo.
Oh, right. Yeah. This one here. Okay. Yeah. All right. So in here, if you look under classrooms, you've got all these different classes. And then within these classes, you can brand them accordingly and put whatever image you want. So if you click on one of the classes, you can choose either select a theme or upload a photo. And the photo, you would have needed to create it before to have these dimensions here, which I think is about 1,000 pixels by 300 pixels, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
And you can just upload it there and it will show. So like Brother Sachin, he uploads them. So if it's a companion class, you can create an image that's got the companion logo and things like that, or the colors, and then it brands it accordingly. This image here that you see here, that's just my own profile picture in here. So if you click on the top right, it gives you an option to change your picture on there. Okay, so you can say, okay, I can change it to either one of my pictures which I've uploaded before, or I can upload a new one, and then when I upload it, it shows on there on the side. So you can see on this master guide one, I've just put a master guide logo on there on the side. Hope that answers that.
Yeah. We've got one more question over here in the chat that sample of the classes that you have done, the samples of how we have created it and what we have done. So if I can share that one, Brother Mgcini.
Yeah, sure. Before you do that, just go see one more Wellington, and then we can show how we can copy classrooms as well whilst we're there, Sachin. Wellington.
Yeah, if I might just ask, in light with the question that Felix asked, and he said it was for G Suite, the paid version. For streaming would it be from the paid version as well? Like if you want to stream, like how we can use Zoom, if you want to stream from that.
So this works in tandem with your Zoom. So this will be more or less, think of this as being like your folder work. Yeah. So this is your folder work. Your Google Classroom is your folder work, but you still need to have those sessions, you know, face-to-face sessions with the Pathfinders and Adventurers. And for that, you can then use your Zoom, your Google Meet, your Teams, or any other, video conferencing solution that you choose to use.
Yeah, I was just saying that because my daughter uses this at school, and she can stream through the classroom as well instead of using Zoom. You understand what I mean? So
okay, yeah, maybe it's a functionality on the G Suite that not on this version here. Yeah. Yes,
it's a G Suite with Google Meet. That's the function that they have on it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Sachin.
Yeah, no worries.
So obviously the question was asked on, how do you just lower the hand. How do you share the items in the Google Classrooms, and so share some of what Sachin has done for his club? So I'll pass that over to you there, Sachin.
Right, yeah, thank you. So this is our Google Classroom basically, and how Brother Mgcini was saying, these are the logos that you can actually then add to it. So this was for 2020, and we are already creating the 2021 up here. One of the things that you want to do is you want to have a template. So when you create something, always remember to have that as your main template. So basically that's your original copy, after which you start duplicating it. And Brother Mgcini will show how you can duplicate the classrooms. In regards to how and what we have done, so we have a couple of things here. One is the attendance form where it keeps populating by itself. Then we've got student material over here, where you have everything in regards to students of book club certificate. You have the report that they need to write, and we've given like 5 reports over there, so they can fill in anything. And these are all that they can directly type it, and it'll just be saved on the drive. And when we come to people, you will see them as separate documents under their individual names. So we have a lot in the student material itself. We also have something called teachers material. Now, in the teachers material, what we have added is we have the booklet for the Voyager, the hard copy that you would normally have as a printed one, and you give it to the teachers to fill it in. So once you open the document of that one, bear with me, it should open in another file. So basically, it's just a Word document. All right, for some reason, it's not opening when I'm sharing the screen. Yeah, there you go. So once you have that, so you can actually have the whole booklet as well over there, and the teacher can then download if they want it, or they can open it with Google Classrooms, Google Documents, anything like that. That's one thing that you can actually do. There's also a PDF copy if somebody wants a PDF copy to share. And we also have a workbook for guidance, but that's something that is only for our club. We can't share that one. but that's the teacher's material. And the rest, as Brother Mgcini said, you have lots of different things that you can do. One of the things that you can also do in the general requirements is you can actually create a form, which will show it to you. You can have the student's name, the date of birth, you can have their address, and it's a straightforward thing that they will actually fill it in as you would have in your general section. You can then put the date. That means you're providing a digital signature and agree to all the terms and conditions laid out above as per the Voyager general requirement. That's one thing you have. There are other different sections of it, but what we have also added here is extra e-honors. You know, there's a lot of e-honors that is taking place, and you want the students to do it, and you want to have a record of it, and whatever they do, they can actually upload it. You can have something as an extra e-honors part over there. That's entirely how you want to choose it, how you want to have the students in your classroom, or what you want to develop over there. But that's pretty much it. Compared to anything else that is there from the curriculum, all we have is we have an attendance form, which is over here. We have student material. This one, you release it so that the student can anytime go into this, they can then download, or they can do it, or whichever way, it's all there. On teacher's material, we highly recommend that is not released unless and until the teacher wants it to be released for some reason. But realistically, that's just for the teacher's area or teacher's resource. Now, in regards to, are you wanting to do the transfer as well, Brother Mgcini?
Yeah, we can do that, yes.
Right, so if I want Brother Mgcini to have my Voyagers class, or if you as directors want to have this class as a sample one, or you want to have all the classes that we have actually created over here, we can add you to those classrooms, and we'll show you what happens when I actually hand it over to Brother Mgcini. So Brother Mgcini, if you can just share your email address with me.
Yeah, so just put test director.
Thank you. So you want to add it in the teachers area, test directors.
At just one, not S.
Yep.
Yeah, at area 2, number 2.club.
So it's populates there. I send this and I invite Brother Mgcini. So I stop sharing, and you can see what happens at Brother Mgcini's end now.
Okay. So me as then Sachin is the donor for that class, and I'm the recipient. So what I'm then waiting for on my side is an email from Sachin inviting me to join that particular class. So I'll just wait 2 seconds for such an invite to come through. Okay, there we go. Okay.
If you show the invite, Brother Mgcini, as well.
I'll share my screen so that I can see the invite in question. Okay, so this is my email. I've received this invite. Is telling me that the Manchester South, Southern Asia Adventures crew, church club crew is inviting me to teach Voyager. Do I want to join? Okay, so I can click join, or I can just copy that link because I'm working on a different browser, and I want to share with you the other browser that I have, which is this one. Okay, so now as a teacher, I come to my browser here, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna accept this invite, and it's telling me, do you want to co-teach this class? You've been invited. It's telling me as this one. I want to make sure that I'm invited on the right email address. I'm gonna accept that. Once I've accepted it, it will launch that class straight away for me. And bam, look at that. I've got access to his class, and I can see all the elements that he's added to that particular class. I can see all of them there. Okay. And I can see as well, he's one of the teachers on here. Okay. Now, because I want to copy this for my own club, I'm not going to make any changes to this particular one because this is Sachin's template. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my list of classes, and you'll see this Voyager class is now showing under my list of classes. What I want to do now is to copy this. So under Voyager, click on this ellipsis buttons here and select copy. Not copy the invite link, but the copy one, okay? It will then ask me, what do I want to call this new class? So I'm gonna call it New Voyager 2021, and I can fill in these sections if I want. Then I'll select copy, okay? Now, any work that had been done on Sachin's class will not be copied, okay? But it will copy any assignment additions and attachments that he's created for his original donor class, okay? And then you will see once it's finished its copy, I should have the new class showing on here. So let me just refresh my screen. And you can see there it's creating the class. It's just grayed out, so I'll just wait for it to complete. It doesn't take too long. Within a few seconds, less than a minute usually, it would have copied all that Sachin has created. And then this class will be a brand new class for me, with only me as the teacher. And then, okay, it's finished now. You can see it's no longer grayed out. I can go into it, and it's got no other stream. So it doesn't copy any of the streams from the other class. It's got a fresh stream on there. And all the classwork, again, it will be fresh, but it will be as per how they were created on Sachin. Now, anything that Sachin would have issued and assigned, when I create this new class, everything is in draft. Everything is in draft. Then when I come to people, because this is my class now, Sachin will not show on here. And then I can add my my club members, teachers that I want to be in that particular class. And then once I've finished copying what I want to copy, so Sachin, if you want, you can then revoke my access to this particular class here. So I'm not sure if you want to just do that now, Sachin.
Yeah, 1 second.
Yeah, so he'll revoke my access to his donor class because I no longer need it now. I've got my own copy here. So if I refresh my page, that Voyager 2021 class is gone. Yeah, that donor class is gone because Sachin is taking back control over it. And I've got my brand new Voyager class 2021, which again can start assigning my own club members and adding my own teachers in there as well. And then when the time is right, I can also add the area coordinator for their assessment as well.
As well as if you think that certain part of the classwork is not something that you want, you can actually delete that part as well.
Absolutely.
So because this becomes your classroom, you can actually do as you want with it.
Yeah. So if I say this and I'm like, what's this online registration attendance? I'm not going to use this. Click on the ellipsis and just delete. Do not delete it. Yeah, I don't need it. Bam. Gone. Yeah. So hopefully this answers the question you had, Paulette, on the copying across accounts as well.
Yeah, it does. It does very much so. I just thought, you know, that year on year, that top page is going to get really crowded. So you could basically have a 2021 club account, a 2022 club account to keep it tidy. That was my thinking, really.
Yeah, Sister Paulette, as well as what you could
documents.
Yeah, Sister Paulette, what you could do is, as I said, you want to have one of it as a main or the mother classroom. So when I make 2021 or I make 2020 when I made, I then, once the year is over and everything is completed, I then archive them. So I still have, you know, the classroom. So I have a lot archived as well from what we already have over here. So if I go here, and it never goes away, only thing it removes all the teachers and everyone. So if I go click here and you go right at the bottom, you can see archived classes. And if I click onto that, that's all the classrooms that were created. Sorry?
They don't show on your dashboard?
No, they don't show on my dashboard. So this is 2020 Explorer. Once I've done it, the year is over, I just archive them. So you can just simply, you can go onto that, you can click on the 3 clips and you can archive them. So this classroom looks tidier, you know, compared to what it is.
No, that's good.
Yeah, we also have something as the online library here, where we have a lot of books, which we have actually started putting together. So we have like the administrative books, which will be for the staff. And we have amazing fact books. You can realistically have an online library with all these books and everything for children to actually read. I know it's still work in progress, but we're getting there. So I've just put them like by authors and so forth.
Thank you, Sachin. I see a hand by the Wellington. Or is that a previous hand?
Yeah, yes, it is. Mine is a bit twofold in the question. First, it's about, like, for example, infringement. I'm going to be a student for a minute. I'm in university, and I'm using Google Classroom, but at the same time, I want to do Pathfinders, and I'm going to use the same email address to do it. Any crossover issues? And secondly, for clubs that have, for example, more than one directors, and you might say, okay, seeing that you have more than one directors, we want both of us is gonna flex the lead on that. How do you, what's the word I want to use now? How do you merge that for both directors to benefit? Okay,
so to answer your first question there, with regards to, you were referring to overlap between your uni work and your Pathfinder work. So any classes that you have, be it those classes, your Pathfinder or your external other classrooms, you will see them listed on here, Brother Wellington, and you'll be able to just choose as to which classroom you want to go to. So your other classes, they will not be impacted. You'll continue to have access to them, and you can just flick in between whichever class you want to do at that particular time. In terms of multi-directors, again, very simple. So if I go to, say, I don't know, the companion class over here, you see under people, you can add as many teachers as you want for that particular class. So if you've got more than one teacher for a class, literally have them both or 2 or 3 added onto that particular class, and all the teachers and all the directors for that particular class will be able to see exactly the same thing. Whatever the students have submitted, they will be able to assign work for the students as well, just like all the other teachers can do. So whatever the one teacher can do, the other teacher will be able to do.
Okay, thanks for that.
Brother Wellington, if you're asking that, can you create 2 accounts with 2 different things, then that might be difficult. But putting what, as Brother Mgcini said, is that you want one account. That's why we said you want
not necessarily 2 accounts. I'm just looking at it because.
Sorry, you're muted.
Sorry, I was more looking at that. One person is in control of adventurers, one is in control of pathfinders. Just an example I'm giving. So maybe what would have to happen is that, for example, the director would have to be on so many of the different classes or so. I'm just throwing it out there because maybe that's across the board.
Yes. So if you're the Pathfinder director, hypothetically there, Wellington, you would have access to all the Pathfinder clubs. So when you look on your Google Classroom, you would have all the classes. So use Sachin as an example. You see how he's got all those classes on his board? You would have the same as the Pathfinder director. Then if you've got a different adventurer director and you've got classrooms for the adventurers, they will have access to the adventurer classes as well. So you can either have access to all or just the ones that you want to have visibility to.
Okay, thanks for that.
Okay, Martin.
What I wanted to find out is, since this appears to be a keyboard interaction, and you have a classroom of kids who are in the classroom via their keyboards doing their work, does it allow you to deal with several kids at the same time? And maybe I would also ask Brother Sachin, how's been your experience using this in your class, in addition to
that? So we started actually around March, Feb, the classrooms itself. It was a trial period for us. So it was difficult to start off with because, it's something new and we're embracing this change. But overall, when we came, we learned things. I and Brother Mgcini, we were looking at it, we were learning things together. He was actually guiding me most of the time. But yeah, so once we did that, we found that very, very much more better, because the things are that you have certain requirements where you need certain requirements where you need to realistically upload photographs or something like that. And Google Classroom allows you to do it straight away. You don't have to realistically just keep sending, the printing and making the images small or anything like that. So it really helped us. Now, what Brother Mgcini is saying is that this is there for you. This is available for you. You can utilize it, or you can use something else. What we found something that is useful, we're just sharing it across the directors.
Thank you there, Sachin. And yeah, I mean, I wanted to keep this an hour, and
yes.
Apologies, it's gone over 12 minutes, but I think we will stop there unless there's any burning questions. If there's anybody that's got any other follow-up questions, by all means, feel free to reach out to myself.
Just have a chat one, Brother Mgcini. Some are asking that can they get this class onto their accounts?
Okay, so that's a very good question, and the answer is no. Not joking. So yeah, it all depends obviously on you finding somebody who's willing to donor the work that they've done on their Google Classroom. And I'm pleased to say our brother Sachin is willing to be a donor for some of his classrooms that is created.
Only for Pathfinders.
Only for Pathfinders, okay?
We don't have adventurers.
No adventurers, okay? So thank you to Brother Sachin for being willing to be a donor. He's done all the legwork and the hard work for it, which means you as a teacher, you have the easy part of just tidying it up for yourself. Okay, so we'll most likely open this up. Anybody that wants to have a copy of the classrooms, what I would say is I'm gonna put an email here in my PowerPoint. So if you email this email address and then just put which classes you would want copies of, and then we'll make these available for about, I'll say, a week. And then you have that time to download them and bring them back, basically. I'm just going to put that email address. So make note of this email address here, peeps. Okay. So it's ac@area2.club. ac@area2.club. Email in requesting which classes you want to be added as a teacher of, and then we'll give you a week for you to download that particular class. Then after a week, we will rescind your permission to that class. So again, remember, we'll give you permission as a teacher. You'll see the invite come through to your email. That's why I need your email, because we need to send you the email. So if you email in, we'll email you back. And then we'll send you the invite to the class. You then go to the class, copy it to your own local classroom, and then after a week, the other one, you will see the access to it disappear as Sachin rescinds that particular access. But thank you to Sachin for being a willing donor for all them classes, having done all the hard graft on there. Okay. And again, when you get it, you know, you can update it, you can amend it, you can remove some stuff, you can add some stuff. And if you find that, you know, there's things that you've done on Google Classroom that you will find beneficial for other clubs, share with all of us. You know, sharing is caring. Okay. There's no point in hoarding some of these things, you know, what for? So sharing is caring, send them through. So again, email this email address. And like I said, we don't have any adventurers, unfortunately. And yeah.
So if they email the classes that they want and their email address, so we can then add it into development.
Yeah, yeah.
We're looking to release it on the 7th of February. So if you release it on the 7th of February, you all will get the invite on 7th of February, and we'll leave it till the 14th of Feb. And then we'll withdraw the permission. So you've got that one whole week. But in case, you know, you're not able to do it or you have any trouble or anything like that, just get in touch with Brother Mgcini, and, you know, we'll try and help you as much as possible.
Yeah.
Sister Paulette.
I was just going to say, is it worth mentioning that you need the club email addresses, not the personal email addresses? Because you're adding the club, is that not correct?
I'm adding the director. So whichever the email address the director will be using to manage the
club
classroom. Yes. So whichever email address they'll be using to create and manage the Google Classroom, that's the email address that we need.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mgcini. Oh,
yes.
Why haven't you done the adventurous?
We're waiting for you, Felix, to do it.
No.
We'll take it from you.
Felix.
Sachin, please.
My brother.
No. Click on that, because I think this will work for everybody. Let's not sort of create an uneven playing field.
You see, Sachin has done his contribution on the Pathfinders, and we thank the Lord for you volunteering to do the adventure one.
I am very challenged,
technical. All the time, Felix. It just inspired.
I am technically challenged, so we need somebody like Sachin.
I think, Brother Felix, what the problem we face with Adventurer, to be honest, is there's lots of art and craft part of it. And we were discussing this during this week, myself and Brother Mgcini. There's a lot of art and craft, so it doesn't help in that matter for the adventurers end of it. So they can take photographs, we can create forms for you if you want them to upload. But we can't create sections because we don't know how to manage that part of it.
All right.
That's one of the reasons that we haven't touched adventurers at all.
Not that it can't be done, you know, it can be done. And
yes.
I'm seeing Felix as being the pioneer on the adventurer side of things.
I would love to.
We've got 55 people in here, and I'm sure somebody is thinking, yeah, I can see it working for adventurer. Link up with Felix and let's make it happen.
No. I'm very challenged in that field. But I'm just thinking, because what we experienced towards the end of the year, there are some parents who are not able to print things. But if everything was on electronically here, I can just upload and say work on this sort of a slide, and it's easy that way. Because
Sorry, Brother Felix.
Yeah, so if there's lockdown and people can't even come out of their house, maybe to go to the post office or library to print, they could always do this at home.
What I would suggest, Brother Felix, is we're giving you the Pathfinder class. So you have something as a guide for yourself, and you have a class, you can look into it and you can see what type of forms or documents have been used in doing that. You can then mimic the same thing for the adventure. So that is something that you can do, and then you would get to know how it's working as well, if that makes sense. Because if you have everything and you don't know how it's going to be working, that might be quite tricky. So you could probably, you know, start using the adventurer part of it and try seeing what you can create and how you can do it. Some of them haven't got the email address as well. Brother Mgcini, if you can put it on the chat, I think they've missed.
Oh, right. Sorry. Okay. Let me put it back.
They're also asking, can the ACs put together a working group to work on the adventurer class?
I think the directors has got as much skill and ability to do so. Amanda.
or you might get somebody within your club who can actually help out.
Listen, you know, let's utilize. There's plenty of skill and potential in here, team. You know, collectively we can make things happen. Like I said, you know, Sachin has, you know, I've worked with Sachin, and you know, he's created for the Pathfinders, and trust me, it's a lot of effort to get it done, but he's done it, and he's willing to share and make it easy. Somebody can also take that mantelpiece and do the same thing for adventurers team. It's and then come back and say, look, I've done one for adventurers. Who wants it? And I can share with them. You know, sharing is caring. It's not about, you know, you should have the responsibility for this. You know, let's work as a team, guys, together.
Yeah. So I think on that note, Coral has saying that she's going to attempt the adventure at Google Classroom. So there you go. We got somebody helping us out.
Amen. Amen. All right. Well, I don't want to keep you all. Thank you very much for your time, and hope you find this useful and helpful. And yeah, if you've got any questions, you've got my email address there. Feel free. Myself or Sachin will come back to you on that. If we don't know the answer, we will find out the answer for you and let you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, we shall close. And I've got my elder Spence. If I can ask you to bless us with a prayer, Spence, that'll be great. And then we can separate. Spence is one of my one of my technical elders there. I love him, Spence. Eh?
You're like, let's pray. Father, we thank you for the time that we have spent here on this platform, and for the information that we have gathered from our two brethren. Dear Father, they are very talented, and we thank you for using them in order to give us this information. We pray that you will help us, dear Father, that as we move from here and trying to put all these things into action, that you will be able to grant us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And we also pray that you will bless them also in their endeavor to help, dear Father, the NEC staff as far as possible. So we give you thanks. We commit now ourselves into your hand as we separate from this platform, and we pray you keep us faithful and help us that we continue to do the work that you has in store for us, so that we can work to help the children and thereby in the end save them along with us as we do this. And finally, see you for ourselves. These and other mercies we ask in your name, with thanksgiving for hearing and for answering our prayer. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you everyone for attending.
Thank you.